Dear students, you remember while we were discussing standardization and simplification technique, I promise you that we will be studying work study in detail. So now it is the time to talk about work study in detail. Work study can be divided into four: one, method study, motion study, time study, and fatigue study. So we would be discussing these four one by one. First, we'll talk about the method study. Method study is the to find out one best way of doing the job. You remember that when Taylor said that we should find out one best way, there are several methods and there would be one best way to find out to do a particular job, and that particular best way should be um, research should be done on that, and that should be used to do the job. So you can say the method study technique of scientific management is basically conducted to find out one best method, or you can say the way of performing the job which keeps production cost minimum and makes maximum use of resources of the organization. So Taylor suggested that method of production should not be decided by rule of thumb. He was against this rule of thumb. So, but all the methods must be tried in the organization, and the one which brings maximum benefit with minimum cost must be selected. And to determine the best way, there are certain parameters, right from you can say the procurement of raw materials till the final product is delivered. So Taylor developed the concept of assembly line. You are seeing this word assembly line. Now understand that what is this assembly line. Actually, it is a process followed in usually the manufacturing units where some production is taking place, where each worker is assigned a specific task which he will keep on repeating, and then the process moves to the next worker who again does a specific task, and this is repeated until the finished product is made. It is used for mass production. So assembly line may use human workers or the even the robots also for performing the same type of work repeatedly. So he devised this concept of assembly line by using method study, process chart, operation research, batch production. These are few examples of production technique based on method system. This concept means the assembly line concept was used by Ford Motor Company, and even now also many auto companies are using it. Like for designing a car, the assembly line production would entail deciding the sequence of operation, place for men means the workers, machines, and the raw materials also. All this is part of the method study. For this purpose, many techniques, as I told you, the process chart operation research can be used. Now, what is the purpose of this? Or sometime in the examination, it is will be asked that what is the purpose of method study, or what is the advantage of doing method study, or even if it is asked that what is the objective of method study, why a manager should go for method study. So these 4 points will help you in writing the answer. A, to minimize the cost of production. B, to maximize the quality of the product. C, to maximize the satisfaction of the consumer, because if you give them better quality product, naturally their satisfaction would be more. And to find out one best way of doing the job. This is actually scientific way of doing the production. take an example. For production of shoes, there can be two methods. One is labor intensive method, or another may be what we call that technical intensive method or machine intensive method. To find out which is best management, management must evaluate the cost of production with both the methods and compare both the methods with the available resources of the company. The method which involve minimum cost and exploit maximum resources must be selected as the best method of production. So this is known as method study. Now let us understand that what is this motion study. It actually refers to the study of movements like lifting, putting objects, sitting, and changing positions, which are undertaken while doing any particular job. The scientific technique of motion study is conducted, or you can say the objective of motion study would be like to determine the movement of workers when they are performing the job, to differentiate between productive and unproductive movements, for cutting down unproductive and wasteful movements, and to design suitable equipment and tools to minimize the unproductive movements of workers. Now, to conduct motion study, Taylor suggested to observe an average worker when he is performing the job and note down all the movements whatever he is doing. How many times he is getting up from his place, how many times he is bending down. Repeat it for say 100 times with different workers, and after writing all the movements, classify them in say productive and unproductive movements, and make the strategy to cut down or minimize the unproductive movements. So Taylor and his associate is known as Frank Gilbert. So this Frank Gilbert were able to reduce motions in bricklaying from 18 to just 5. This is very famous research work done by Taylor and Frank Gilbert. I have just put one link also. So you just pause here and see first that link and understand that what is motion and time study, and then you would be more clear about this time study, motion study and method study. So this is the link which I would recommend to you, that pause my video here, first see this. I have put in the comment box also this link or the detail of this video, so you can find out on YouTube also that these two links I have put there, and you just touch it, click it and see it, and then we will continue. Hope you could see those two videos, and now there would be many things which would be very clear while I would be discussing. So if you closely observe the workers movement, you will find out that there are three types of movements. Those motions which are productive, then means those movement which will which will help you in productivity. It will produce something in manufacturing, like one worker who is bringing the raw materials near the machine to produce it. So these type of movement will be called as productive movement, productive motion. Then there are some motions which are incidental. It will happen sometime. No, it is not means you cannot avoid it. Like so, this motions or these movements will take place naturally in a manufacturing unit. For example, if you have to bring the raw materials, naturally you have to go to the storeroom to bring it. So this kind of movements are known as incidental. Then there are some movements which are unproductive. These are useless. So the objective of doing the motion study as per Taylor was to identify these three things. Like a worker is being observed for many times, and for that he is using the stopwatch, he's using various symbols and colors to identify these different types of motions. So if it is productive, well and good, it would be appreciated, it will be accepted. Incidental movement, we need to see that can we minimize it, can we reduce it. For example, if the tool box is not near the machine, so every time to use that particular tool the worker has to move from one place to another place. So can we change that place of that toolbox? So can we reduce the time being taken or the movement being taken into that unnecessary movement? And then there are some movements which are unproductive, which are not giving any result. So we need to identify those type of movement, those type of motions which are not yielding any result, which are not yielding any, which are not as per our objective, or it are useless activities. So those would be identified, and then we need to select those things, those movements which are productive. Incidental should be minimized and unproductive should be stopped at all. Now, if we have to talk about the objective or the purpose or the advantage of the motion study, we can say it will definitely eliminate the unnecessary movement, as you have identified that these are unproductive movements. So naturally now we will not do it. The second one is, if your all the movements, all the workers movement or the motions are towards productivity, naturally productivity will increase. And then we can design the suitable equipment and tools to educate workers on their use. So one research was conducted that somewhere a lot of sand was kept. So which type of saw if they use, then they can replace these things from one place to another place. That was conducted, and then it was find out that if you are using the right type of equipments or the tools, then also so many movements would be reduced, or you will not have to do then unnecessary movement, unproductive movement. And yes, the results achieved by Taylor were truly remarkable. When I say this, means Taylor and his associate Frank Gilbert, you must have seen in that video, were able to reduce motions in bricklaying from 18 to just 5. So 13 unproductive activities, or the, you can say, the motion, the movements were reduced. So Taylor demonstrated increase in productivity by 4 times by this process. Take an example. While observing an average worker, if it is observed that worker has to bend say frequently to pick up the tools from the toolbox placed under his table, then a stool can be placed near his seat to keep the toolbox, so that worker does not waste his energy in bending again and again. Same energy he can use for improving his production capacity, or you can say the efficiency level. So naturally then it will cut down the unproductive and wasteful movement also. So these may be the objective, purpose and advantage of the motion study. Thank you. Now let me explain this another method, that is time study. Taylor suggested that the time required to perform a particular job should not be decided by intuition, will, or you can say the wish of manager. means you should not follow the rule of thumb, but time study must be conducted to determine the standard time scientifically. And to conduct time study, Taylor suggested to observe an average worker when he is performing the job with a stopwatch in hand and note down the average time taken by the worker in completion of a job. So Taylor suggested to repeat the same observation for 100 times and then take out the average time. This time should be considered the average time for performance of the job. Keeping this time in mind, the target for workers should be fixed, and the workers who are able to achieve their targets in standard time are, you can call them, average workers. And if the worker is able to achieve target before standard time, then that type of worker should be called as efficient worker. And if the worker fail to achieve that target in standard time, then he is an inefficient worker. So this time study is actually very important aspect in work study. Now let us understand in another way. It is to determine the standard time taken to perform the well-defined job, this I said, and time measuring devices are used for each element of task. Standard time is fixed for the whole of the task by taking several readings. I said in the example which I said right now. Take one more example. On the basis of several observation, it is determined that standard time taken by the worker to make one cardboard box, suppose in this factory cardboard box is being manufactured and one worker is taking 20 minutes. So if he is taking 20 minutes, in 1 hour, how much he or she will be able to make? It's clear, na? 3 box. So 20 into 3 will make 60 minutes, means 1 hour. Assuming that the worker has to put in normally 8 hours in a day of work in a particular shift, and deducting 1 hour for rest for his lunch period and all those things. So it is determined that in 7 hours a worker would be able to produce 21 boxes. It means the 3 boxes per hour. So as you have already calculated this by seeing the observation. So now in one day he would be able to produce 21 boxes. One worker producing 21. Now you can easily find out that 2, 3, 4 worker or 10 workers will produce 210 boxes. So now it is very easy for the manager, for the foreman, for the supervisor to decide that how many workers we would be needing to complete a particular job. Now this is the standard work which a worker has to do. So standard work is what? 21 box, you can say, in one day. So if someone is producing 20 boxes, means the person is inefficient. If he is producing 21, he is average worker, normal worker. And if he can produce more than 21 boxes, means say 25 boxes someone is producing, he is efficient worker. And then wages can be decided accordingly for that person. So we would be talking that he suggested the different ways also for efficient and inefficient workers. In differential piece wage system, we would be talking about that also. Now this method of time study obviously will depend on these 3 factors. These 3 factors are: A, volume and frequency of the task, that how much amount is being produced, and then what is the frequency, that also will determine the time study. And then the cycle time of the operation, that to complete one particular operation how much time it is taking. So based on that your time study method would be decided. it will depend on that. Like something is being completed in 1 year, so you cannot do for 100 years the research only, or the study only. So this cycle time also will be a deciding factor for the time study. Then time measurement costs. Yeah. So then there is a cost also involved in doing this type of study. So that also we need to consider. What is the objective or purpose, or you can say the advantage of time study? It is helpful in determining the standard time taken to perform a job. It will help in determining the number of workers that to be employed, means how many workers we need to complete the particular task. We can determine the wages and incentive also, which would be given to the workers. And then it is also going to help you in achieving the maximum productivity and efficiency. And naturally it will determine the labor cost also. Now all these things, these are the words for you. Now let us take one example so that you can easily understand all these 5 points. Suppose in a school the furniture of the classroom is to be painted. Now assume that one worker is able to paint 10 desks in a day. So, and there are 500 furniture or the desk which is to be painted. If the manager or the contractor plans to complete the work in 5 days, then the number of employees to be employed per day would be how much? This we can calculate it easily using this time study. How it can be calculated? 500 total desks are there which we need to complete, and one worker is doing how much? So 10. Yeah? And 5 days we have. So if we multiply it by 5, we can easily calculate that we need 10 workers to complete this job. Same way, if the wage of one worker amounts to rupees 200 per day, so 10 workers you have employed, now 200 you are paying, so you need to pay 2000 rupees to. Now the total labor cost would be how much? Like one day you are paying 2000. In one day you are paying 2000 because 10 workers are there. So if you pay 2000 rupees for 5 days, so the total labor cost would be how much? 10,000. So this is how you can easily calculate, and you can understand now this point. So it is helping determining the standard time. It is helping in the determining the number of workers, how many workers you need, like 10 workers you wanted. Then wage and incentive also we can calculate, and we can calculate the labor cost also with the help of time study. Thank you. Okay, now we would be discussing the fatigue study. Before we discuss this, let me ask you a question. What is your favorite hobby, or what is your favorite time pass? Or normally nowadays in this lockdown situation, where you spend most of your time? I know the answer would be very different. Uh, like someone may say that I love to play PUBG, or I love to watch TV, or I spend my time on social media. So suppose chance given to you to continue that. So how many hours you can spend on that? Your favorite thing. 1 hour, 2 hour. You may right now you may say that, sir, I'm very happy using it all 24 hours. But is it possible? Think about it. Can you use that particular hobby or particular time pass or particular work or activities to be continuously doing that? There would be some time, when you will be saying that enough is enough, now I need a break. So that particular point when you say that I need a break is called fatigue. And in any working situation, in any factory, in any office, it is very, very important to calculate that, to know about that rest intervals in between work. Like lunchtime. Like see, in your school also, they said recess happens after 2 periods or 3 periods, and after every period one teacher goes, another teacher comes, there is a 1 minute 2 minutes break. So that break actually energizes you. You must have realized it. So now let us understand that what is a fatigue study. The basic idea behind this fatigue study, as per the Taylor, is he believed that a person is bound to get tired when he is performing a job for a long period of time. There is always need for rest interval. Yeah, you need to give some break. So Taylor suggested that the time period and frequency of rest interval should not be decided by the wish or experience of manager, but to give a scientific approach, a fatigue study should be conducted. And to conduct this fatigue study, Taylor suggested to observe an average worker when he is performing a job and note down the time when that worker starts getting tired and when his efficiency level starts decreasing. Then give him a break. So this time can be noted to decide frequency of rest interval, and during break, after how much time the worker become fresh to rejoin the work, and that can be the time for rest interval. So frequency and time for rest interval is fixed by observing the workers. Definitely, in a that would be actually the more scientific way to do so, and definitely this will result in increased productivity also. Now there may be several reasons for fatigue, like long working hours. Continuously a person is working for 8 hours, then he needs a break. Maybe that the person is doing unsuitable work. If you ask someone to do that type of work which he is not, which he does not like, or which is not suitable for that person, he would feel fatigued or tired very quickly. And then having uncordial relations, suppose your colleague is not good, no? You are not having good relationship with your colleague, then what happens? You don't feel good. Like some, maybe in the class, if you are sitting with your own friend whom you like, you will get tired after longer period of time. But if the person is not of your choice, teacher has asked you to sit with that, then naturally there would be, you will get tired easily, or with the lesser time. And same with the, if your relationship with the boss is not good, then also your fatigue would happen frequently. The working condition also is a determining factor. So such hindrances in good performance should be removed. That is the objective of fatigue study. Now let us take one example. If there are 3 shifts of work, if after one shift worker get tired, he can be assigned first and third shift and given rest interval in the second shift. During one shift, also small pauses of the rest interval can be given if it is observed that within a uh, particular shift, worker becomes more fresh with small breaks. So we can do all this study, and then we can decide that how much gap or how much rest interval we can give. Here one more example is mentioned here. Normally in a factory or in a plant, what happens? Work takes place in 3 shifts of 8 hours. Even in a single shift, a worker has to be given some rest interval to take the lunch, etc. If the work involves, say, heavy manual labor, then small pauses can be given frequently so that he recharge himself or herself, and the energy level obviously will contribute more to the production. Now, to find out the objective, purpose and advantage, we can say that it is helpful in determining the amount or duration of rest interval in completing a particular task. It also helps in determining the frequency of rest interval, how many times that rest interval should be given. And then to determine the number of rest intervals in completing a task, that also can be done. And obviously all these will help in increasing the productivity of the organization. So this is how the fatigue study will help us. So finally we completed the work study technique. Work study technique actually ensures maximum production at minimum cost and getting best contribution from every factor. So time study, motion study, method study, fatigue study, all these four together is called work study technique.